Okay, today I have to go to Dutch branch to deliver some mail. So hopefully this won't be too hard of an issue. Temperature today is not too bad. It's in the 50s. So tomorrow the high is supposed to be 38. So tomorrow's gonna be a little colder. But today not too bad. So I'm delivering mail to 2440 that was delivered to my house by mistake. So I just need to go around here and deliver the mail and not get shot. So those are all good things that I'm hoping for. I believe it's going to be on the right side of the road. Oh, it's right here. So very quickly to find. Oh, hey, squirrel. So good job. So now I gotta just travel around. To look at this house. I hadn't seen this house for sale. I have to look at and see how much it sells for. 2-car garage, probably 1,600 square feet. I'm looking at selling my house maybe before spring and moving into a smaller place because, my house is like 3,000 square feet and I'd like to get down to about 1,000. A lot less work. But I might be able to go down to 1,600 to be cut in half. Let's see, that didn't work very well at telling me my mirror moved. I guess probably because I hadn't ridden in basically a month. Most of that's because my doctor telling me not to move. So I'm trying to do what I'm being told to do, which is to not do a lot of moving. Hey, I think I know that guy. Oh yeah. Yeah, the sun's getting kind of low today. Low in the evening for me. This is my first bicycle ride since my stay in the hospital back on Christmas. So maybe this will be a good time to tell my story of my trip to the hospital. Well, it's not going to be the personal part of the story. It'll just be the interaction with other people story. Yeah, who wants to hear about emergency care? But people do like to hear about just interaction between people. This will just happen to be interaction between people during an emergency. Well, it's not really emergency. Semi-emergency. Oh yeah, I lost a lot of power already. I thought I had 75%, but I just rode a little short distance and only have 56%. So today is not the day to to go far. Anyway, this is my first day. Maybe we'll pick this up and 38-degree temperature tomorrow and tell the actual story. Yeah, we'll make this a two-ride event, a two-day event, because the first day I don't have fully charged. Yeah, getting down to. Oh, hey there. The little Chihuahua couldn't even hear because of the other dog was so loud. Oh, they look like they must have pets or something tearing up there. Okay, so this was a good trip. Good first trip. Got to see if it is harmful to me, and I think I made it without any harm. Which is all you can hope for, right? Okay, this has been a couple of days after my last ride, in which I told you it was going to be the next day, but the next day turned out to be raining and icy. So I didn't go that day. So this is a couple days later. I forgot to charge up my Garmin, so I'm not using my Garmin today. I'm using my phone, and it's going to be talking to me a lot. So hopefully y'all can't hear that. And I could probably silence it, but I didn't want to spend the time. I wanted to get out. I got permission from my doctor this time, where before I didn't have permission. Now the doctor says it's okay for me to do a little bit of riding. So I plan to do that. Today is in the 40s, but I got my 40-degree weather gloves on, and I got my 40-degree weather pants on, so I think I should be fine. Of course, my face will still be cold, but yeah, kind of getting used to that nowadays. I got a problem here. Probably skip through this. Is I want this to be working where I can see it. But I'm not sure if it's going to do that. Anyway, one of the things I talked about was that, oh yeah, and the wind's very high. That's another issue. So I got cold temperature and high winds. So I don't know what the field like temperature is, but I bet it's in the 30s. But, you know, I can handle 30s, I think, with the clothes I got on. I didn't bring my warm boots, so my feet might get a little bit cold. But my hands and legs, at least those two things will be warm. Oh, so let's get around to telling my story a little bit. Well, as you all know, that I haven't been able to ride my bike recently, and there's been good reason. It was because I had to go to the hospital. Now, my doctor told me, and I knew this ahead of time, that I was going to be going to the hospital, that there was going to have to be 4 to 6 weeks where I would not be able to ride my bike, and so I informed y'all earlier that that was going to be the case. And so now, here I am, doing my first test run. Actually, this is my second test run. I did a short ride earlier, about 20 minutes, just to make sure that by the next day or two that I would be fine. So this is like 3 days after that ride, and I'm fine. So today we're taking a longer trip. Although probably not going to go an hour because, yeah, I'm still a little bit hesitant on whether or not I'm recovered enough to do these things. But we'll give it a shot and see how we do. So in order to go to the hospital, I had to not eat, had to be fasting for 24 hours. Well, okay, I didn't have to do 24 hours. They said that I only had to do 12 hours. But I'm a man, and I do manly things. And if normal people do 12 hours, I'm doing 24 hours. You know, got to be on top. However, I'm not saying that's a smart choice. In fact, it was probably a terrible choice, as several nurses told me later on. Friendships. Can you take it too far? You know, there's things that you want to do with your friends. And then there's things that you're like, maybe friends are not going to be this close. You know, they might want to go fishing with you. Might want to go see a football game with you. But are they going to be wanting to do other things? Now, if I have a friend that asks me, hey, can you drive me to the hospital? I'm thinking, yeah, of course. I'll drive you, drop you off, leave you there. Call me when you're ready, and I'll come back and pick you up. Now, that's my idea of being a friend. However, I needed a different type of friend. So, what I needed was a friend that would get up at 4 a.m. and come drive me to the hospital so I could be there by 4:30 a.m. Now, what type of friend do you have that does that? So I'm thinking, you know, maybe I should make this like a guilt trip type thing. Do I need to, like, trick them into taking me? I know you're thinking, you shouldn't be tricking your friends. They won't be friends for long if you're tricking them. So let me know. Is this a trick? You just go up to somebody and say, hey, I need somebody to take me to the hospital tomorrow. Can you do this? And they go, yeah. Yeah, I can. I said, okay, great. I need for you to pick me up at 4 a.m. the day after Christmas. Yeah, now that they already made the commitment that they would come pick you up, surely they won't back out now. So you got a little bit of guilt trip on them now. Should they continue with this thought? 4 a.m. the day after Christmas? Day after Christmas morning? Yeah. Well, fortunately, I didn't have to pull this on several friends. The first one fell for it and said that they would be happy to come by and pick me up at 4:30 in the morning, even if it kills them. Yeah, there's a dedicated friend. Getting up at 4 a.m., and that might kill them. But yet they're still willing to do it. To arrive at 4:30 in the morning at a hospital the day after Christmas is unique, I would say. Yeah, that was not a time that I would have picked as the best time to be doing anything. But here we were. In order to facilitate this, I got the person to stay over. I have several rooms in my house. They were able to stay over at one of the rooms. And so they were able to wake up and then just go out in a car and take me over there. So it wasn't too hard. The problem is that we didn't really know where the entrances to the hospital were. We knew where the hospital was. I mean, we've been looking at this hospital for 30 years. However, the hospital just doesn't look the same. Every time we drive by, there's new buildings being put up. There's new things happening. About, 20 years ago, I'd gone to the hospital, and they had an entrance right there in the front. You'd go in through the front, and they would lead you into the area where the person was. Well, this has been several years later. Bunch of new buildings have sprung up all over the hospital, even some buildings across the street from the hospital. So when they tell us that we have to enter the main entrance, I'm thinking the main entrance that we went to 30 years ago. Well, that entrance is not the main entrance anymore. That entrance has moved to where the old emergency entrance was. Now the old emergency entrance is now the main entrance. And the new emergency entrance is somewhere else. I don't even know where. I did see some signs telling me, go this way if you're having an emergency, but I didn't have an emergency. I had a schedule. So we didn't go that way. Instead, they did also have signs that say main entrance. So we slowly drove through the thing and found out that the main entrance was the old emergency room entrance. So, that was something. The person just drove, once we found out the entrance, we just drove right up to it. Because, being the person that's going to have surgery, you're the person that gets privileged, so I get dropped off at the front desk. And so when I was turning to talk to the person, we had pulled up to the entrance, and I turned to talk to the person about the fact that the car needed to be parked, and that I would be somewhere inside this entrance here. And then my door opened to my right. And so I looked over there, and somebody had opened my door. They didn't touch me or anything, but they just opened up the door, and they asked me if there anything they could do to help me. I guess what they were asking, do I need a wheelchair in order to get inside the building? Well, I didn't need a wheelchair, so I start getting out, and as I get out, I hear the person that drove me there says, don't leave the front entrance so that I can find you. I don't want to get lost. And I was thinking, well, who wants to get lost? So that was an obvious statement. So I walk with the greeter, is that what you call these people? To the hospital entrance, and then I notice the information desk on the left. Now, I had gotten instructions before that said that when I walked in, there would be an information desk on my left, and sure enough, there was an information desk on my left. I was there. I was vaguely aware, that I probably should be waiting for the other person, but I figured, what can it hurt just to get information? So I could be doing something while waiting for the person to park the car. Just a natural thing. So I go up to the information desk, and they say, what department do you want to find? What department? Well, I have no idea. I have no idea what department. I mean, I know why I'm there, but I don't know what department it is. So I'm like, could you give me a list of departments that I can maybe check from? I want A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That way I can pick C or something. And so the person behind the desk decided to ask the question differently. Like, why are you here? And I go, oh, okay, I can tell you that. So I told them why I was here. And they said, okay, go up to the intersection. And when you get to the intersection, turn left. And the place you're looking for, the department you need, is on your right. I go, okay, thank you. And so then I backed off. And I'm saying, okay, I need to wait for the person to come in now. Now I know where to go. I go forward, get to an intersection, turn left, and then on my right somewhere, there's going to be a place for me to enter a department of some sort. And so I start to wait for the person. Well, people misunderstand my waiting. What they think, I guess, is I'm an old man who is totally confused and do not understand the directions of walking to an intersection. Maybe I don't understand the word intersection. Maybe I don't understand to turn left. Maybe I don't understand what happens after you turn left, where on my right will be the department I'm looking for. So after staring at me for a few seconds while I'm just piddling around waiting for somebody to show up, the person that drove me, one of the people comes over and grabs me by my elbow and says, "Let me show you where it's at." Well, now I'm in a quandary. I'm kind of waiting for somebody. But then again, this person is trying to be really nice to help me out. I decided to go with the person that's helping me out and abandon the person that drove me here. So this person takes me down the hallway, turns left, just like they said, at the first intersection. And then sure enough, the first door on the right, they take me to and said, "This is your department." And I thanked them and off they went. Well, I'm sitting at the entrance to the department. And there's 3 people behind a desk that I can see, probably, 10 yards away. And they all look anxiously at me, like they want to help me, but I need to get just a little closer. So while I'm sitting there thinking about, I wonder what would happen if I pick the wrong person of the 3 that are staring at me. And then they all say at the same time, "Can we help you?" Well, they actually said, "Can I help you?" So, but it was 3 of them. So I heard it as, "Can we help you?" And I was thinking, wow, they're really anxious to help me out. So I walk up to the desk, and as I walked up to the desk, I was closer to one of the 3. So the other 2 turned back to go to their computers and start typing in their computers. And this person ended up winning the prize of being able to help me. One of the interesting things that I find is that they take a different approach. If you're a boomer like me, you'll remember the days that when you show up, they hand you a clipboard and a bunch of paper and tell you to sit down and fill it out, which is what you do for the next 30 or 40 minutes, as you fill out 10 pages of information. Nowadays, this approach is totally different. Instead, they give you a little electronic device and say, "Here, sign here." Now, all you see is this electronic device, and then that has a pen attached to it. So you grab this electronic pen, and you sign your name. No idea what you're signing, but you signed your name. And then they say, "Okay, thank you. Now, would you initial the next one?" "Okay, I initial it." "And would you initial this again?" "Okay, initial it." "And one more time, initial this." "All right, got it." "Okay, and now we need for you to sign the last page." I said, "I haven't seen any pages yet, but okay, I'll sign here." And so I signed here, and they said, "Okay, we got you registered now. You need to go to the check-in area." I said, "So this is the register area, and there's a check-in area." "Okay, and where is this check-in area?" Well, the check-in area was, if you came in from the entrance and turned right instead of left, you would have been able to go to the check-in area. And I said, "Okay, gotcha." I go down the hallway, just keep walking straight past the intersection, straight on down, and then I got the check-in area. I said, "Okay, that's good." I said, "And I need to get out of here because there's somebody somewhere who I abandoned, not intentionally. I didn't intentionally abandon this person. I just accidentally abandoned the person." I mean, can you accidentally abandon somebody? I felt like I accidentally abandoned the person. Anyway, so I started heading down the hallway back to the entrance area where I would just continue straight into the next area. And as I get there, I see the person that dropped me off walking down the hallway a long ways away from me. So I shout out their name. Everybody looks at me. I'm thinking, I can't help it. I can't run after her because I don't have the ability to run. So voice is all I got. So I'm using voice. And it worked. And so we then go to the next area. As I walk into the next area, the first thing I notice is a bunch of chairs all over the place and monitors hanging around up on the walls and on pillars that are holding the building up. All have monitors on it. So I'm looking at these monitors, and these monitors are a lot like you would find at an airport, where you have flight number, then would say on time or delayed, and then what time they expected the new delay. Well, this is the same thing, except for instead of airplanes, it was people. So this person was on time. Surgery's going to happen. This one here is delayed 15 minutes. And I was thinking, well, that's kind of a good idea. That way you kind of know what's going on. And, of course, my name wasn't up there yet because behind this desk was 5 people. And they were all looking at me because I was going to be their next victim. And I was thinking, okay, I guess I have to walk up to this desk because all these people are staring at me. They probably want to help me. So I guess I need to do it. And so as I start walking up, they're all looking at me like they really want to help. They all look eager. They all look anxious. They all look like they really want to do something. And I'm thinking, I got to pick one of these 5 people to do the next stage, which is, I believe, admitting myself into the hospital. So I didn't want to pick the 2 people in the end. I didn't want the end people. So I wanted to try to pick one of the 3 middle people. And one of the 3 middle people, in fact, the one that's closest to me, was a lady around 70 years old. And so I was thinking, she would identify with me most because she's my age or close to it. So I decided I would pick her as the one. So as I walked up to her, she looked like she was excited that she's the one that won the lottery today. And so she starts asking to help me. And she wants to know my doctor's name, which I have no idea what my doctor's name is. She wants to know all sorts of things that I have no idea what they are. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not being very helpful. And she said, no problem at all. We know how to handle the situation. What's your name? Can you spell it? Give me your date of birth. Okay, let me tell you your doctor's name. This is your doctor's name. This is when you're supposed to be here. This is when stuff is going to happen. And I go, okay, cool. So what do I do now? Now you just go sit over there and a nurse will come and get you. I go, okay, that sounds good. So I didn't have to do much. I didn't even have to sign anything. So I went and sat down, and sure enough, nurse came by, said, okay, let me show you to your room. So off we went to my room. So I got my hospital room. I was thinking, this is cool. After I was in the hospital room for about an hour, a nurse comes by and says, okay, we're going to take you to the prep room. I said, okay, cool. So they said, follow me. So we followed them down to the prep room. So this person that takes me down here, is 74 years old. Now, I know that she is exactly 74 years old because she tells me that she's exactly 74 years old when I asked. And I also find out that she's single, that she's been single since her husband died 20 years prior. And as we were talking, heading there, and she was setting me up in my prep room, I found out that she's having IRS problems. And since I'm a CPA, she says, oh, this is fortuitous because I could use some advice about my IRS issues. And so I got to listen to the IRS story. And this turns out to be good because, we're waiting for the surgeon to show up. So this is taking up time and keeping my mind occupied. So I was having a good time as we talked about her problems and how to solve them. Well, eventually her time was up and it was time for the next person to show up. Well, this person had to do with setting up, stabbing me with a something to give me fluids, and doing other things in preparation for the surgery. So I found out that she's 72 years old, but she's married, and she has lots of grandchildren whom she likes to talk about. So we got to banter about her grandchildren as she was doing all of her prep to me for surgery. And then she left. Well, then another nurse shows up, and she says that she's going to be the nurse that follows me throughout the procedure. That she's kind of like the person in charge of the operating room. And so I asked her age because she seemed to be my age, and she says she's 69 years old. And she's been doing nursing for 47 years. And I was thinking, wow, if it wasn't for boomers, I don't know how I would have gotten checked into the hospital had anything happened. I've had a 70-year-old check me into the hospital, a 74-year-old take me to the prep room, a 72-year-old get me ready to be prepped, And the person in charge of the actual operating room is a 69-year-old. All boomers. And so I'm thinking, at this point in time, I haven't seen my doctor, but I'm thinking my doctor is probably going to be a 70-year-old dude. While waiting for a doctor, this kid shows up. And I'm like, did you lose your mommy? And he goes, no, I'm your doctor. Okay, so now a problem or an issue that I have is that I kind of consider myself an entertainer, even as a patient. But several doctors and nurses consider me an ass. It's kind of how you look at how I do things. And I'll explain this as I go on. I never know exactly how my antics will be taken. Sometimes everyone laughs, and we all have lots of fun. And other times I'm met with scowls and frowns, and I'm the only one having fun. I say all this to give you some type of explanation of the interactions that I've been having with the hospital staff. So my first comment to this, quote, doctor is, just because you can grow a beard doesn't make you a doctor. He assured me that he was a doctor. I remember a doozy Hauser, so kids being doctors is not totally unfamiliar with me. So, I asked him if he was excited about doing this surgery that he has only read about in books and was looking forward to seeing if he could remember everything that he watched in the video. He said, well, not so much, as this is the 14th surgery this morning of this type. I go, wow, he kind of knows how to impress somebody right off the bat. So he asked me if I have any questions. Obviously, I have thousands of questions. Like, how did God create the world out of nothingness? And can it be repeated? But I decided to ask a more relevant question to what was going on today. So, you've had 14 procedures already this morning. Did any of them fail to produce the desired outcome? He responded by saying a couple of them were really tricky, but he believed the outcome was really good. So I'm thinking, So now I believe he actually had a bunch of surgeries this morning because he admitted that everything wasn't perfect. He seemed like an honest dude and not full of himself. I was beginning to feel a bit comfortable with him, but my questions weren't done. Have you had enough sleep in the last 24 hours? Yeah, it's a vague question, but the answer should tell me something about the person. He said he's been up for several hours and is feeling really good right now. Sounds like a perfect time for a surgery. He's had practice this morning to hone his skills, and he's still feeling really, really good. So can't beat that for a doctor going into surgery. I had a few other questions. You kind of get the gist of my questions, so we won't go into each of them. However, he answered all of them really well. I was thinking by now that I found the gold mine among doctors, and everything was going to be fine. So he left, and the anesthesiologist shows up. The anesthesiologist turns out that this is the second day at this hospital. So his first question to me is something similar, not exactly like this, but this is how I read it. If I kill you, do you want me to try to revive you? In other words, do you want to waive your right to be resuscitated? I'm thinking, what the heck? A DNR? A do not resuscitate request? How's that even a question? If you kill me, you better revive me. And come to think of it, don't kill me to start with. I didn't ask for that. I got stuff to do. I got a video to make. Well, that's when I found out that he has not been here long, that this is his only second day. And I say, okay, your last job, did you get fired because you killed somebody? Or maybe you killed too many people? Is that the reason you're asking me this question? He goes, oh no, if I killed a lot of people, I wouldn't be able to take any hospital. I said, but you apparently killed people? He goes, oh no, that wouldn't have happened on my watch. No, we don't do that. I go, oh, okay. Well, this isn't the day to start it, is it? Of course not. Everything's going to be fine. You'll see. I go, okay. So a little bit later, my doctor shows back up. He shows back up to inform me that there was going to be a delay. So this is interesting. The actual doctor showed up to tell me that he was going to be called, or that he was called, into emergency surgery due to certain complications, and came to apologize to me for that delay. Now, I'm pretty sure you all think that I'm lying now, that there is no way that an actual doctor showed up to tell a patient that he was going to be late. Doctors have other people they tell to go do that. But no, I'm not kidding. The actual doctor came and told me that he was going to be late. This is no normal doctor. Somehow I randomized the best doctor you could get. However, my questions aren't finished. Every time I get to see him, I get to ask him more questions. Won't go into all the questions I asked then. But about 45 minutes later, he was back and telling me that he had finished the emergency surgery and I was next on the agenda. Obvious question is, did you perform a miracle? And is the person going to be in good shape now? Man, how can I not ask this? This is going to be my doctor. He answered, well, there were a lot of issues, and miracles are hard to come by. But he believed that the part of the process that he was in charge of was successful. But the person had a lot of other issues that still needed to be resolved. I'm kind of falling in love with this doctor now. He is having an actual, apparent, honest conversation with me, and is so full of energy and excitement about the day that it's totally contagious. Sometimes you just luck out. About hospital stays. They're boring. They're extra boring. And boringness to the extreme. Oh, did I mention that hospital stays are boring? It also is painful. Oh, I have plenty of pain medicine, so it's not that type of pain. Pain can be administered in so many different ways. I begin to believe in being bored to death as an actual thing. And that was only after 3 days. Lying in bed on your back starts off comfortable for about 2 hours. Then it's uncomfortable. And then moves to just outright pain. The desire to move, overwhelming. Whenever I talk to a nurse saying, I'm extremely bored, I can't survive any longer, this is going to kill me just to lay here forever. All of them, didn't matter which one I was, would point to the TV set and would say, do you want me to turn it on for you? Would you like some particular channel? No, I don't like TV. I don't want the TV turned on. What am I, a child that needs TV for entertainment? Oh. Eventually I get out of the hospital and I get to go home. At home, I'm much happier. And I have my stuff everywhere that keeps me from being bored. Really, hospitals need to do something about boredom. You know, maybe they should put me in a coma so I don't know I'm bored. That's probably a bad idea. But really, something needs to be done. And that something doesn't need to include a TV. Yeah, this wind is going to blow me over. Sometimes it's really strong.
Turn right onto Eastbourne Road, then turn left.
There's so many things I haven't heard. Wind so loud in my ears, I can't even hear what's going on.
Turn left onto Woodland Hills West.
All right. Bet that baby's cold. Anyway, I had talked to y'all last time, I think, or maybe 2 times ago, about the trike that I might have been able to do, but the offer got trapped in my spam folder, so my response time was not adequate, and that they had already found several people to do the review. So it appears as if I will not be able to do a trike review anytime soon. Or at least I don't have a trike review in the works. So that's kind of a shame, because I really had some good ideas for that, or things I thought was going to be a good idea. So, but it'll probably still come up sometime in the future, so we'll look at it then. In the meantime, I was interested in a torque sensor bike, and someone offered to give me a torque sensor bike for review in February. So expect a review sometime in February on a torque sensor bike. It'll be a commuter type bike. Yeah, I'll just have one there. Be ready for, I get a review in time for the spring traveling. Since it'll be in February, hopefully it'll be warmer than today, but might be a little doubtful. It's mainly only the wind that's bothering me. The wind sometimes is just blows so loud I can't even hear the ground or my bike or anything. It's just really loud. I think I got a wind thing on my mic, so y'all probably should not be hearing all this wind. But to me, it's very loud. Very loud. This looks like one of the longer times I'm going to have to wait. I just see a line of 7 or 8 cars. So I'm going to have to wait till those get by. And it looks like I'm beginning to get an opportunity here. Oh yeah. One of the cars turned off, gave me an opportunity to cross. So I expect it'll probably be a couple more weeks before I get out another video, and that'll be in February. I'll try to find a warmer day. By warmer, I mean not in the 30s, in the 40s, like today, where I can ride with pretty much okay. Until then, remember to like and subscribe in order to make sure you get my future videos. And I'll talk to y'all then. All right, bye.